So this is a special broadcast we having today in English. Doesn't happen often, but we have to realize that we've got English speaking people in that country, which is one of the reasons why the Anglophone crisis has so far not found a reasonable and appropriate solution. So please share the video, please, share the video in groups, share it with friends. So I'm gonna pull out my list of topics that I've chosen today. Let's see if I can get you that again. So we're going to talk today about Longue. We're going to talk today about the whereabouts of Longue. We're going to talk today about the attack of the embassy, the Tchad embassy in Paris yesterday, and the consequences of that attack. We're going to talk today about the 30th of March, yes, we're going to talk about the 30th of March. We're going to talk about the diaspora aid, and I will explain to you what that entails, what is the meaning of that diaspora aid. We're also going to talk about Maurice Kamto when we're talking about is the impact of the occupation of the sabotage of the Chadian embassy yesterday. What is the fallout from it? What's the impact on this struggle? So we're gonna start today by showing you something that was written by J.P. Rimingono. It's a long expose that he did this morning, basically telling you about the reason why what happened on the 26th of January in Paris and Berlin, especially Paris, was not set up, but facilitated by the regime, the Yaoundé regime, and the French authorities, in order to blame it on one person, because they had one person, they have a number one target. So let me explain here. What happened in Paris yesterday was that some activists decided to invade or to take over the Chadian embassy, and they did so yesterday morning. I believe about 21 activists decided to take over the embassy, and they did. We saw the video went viral. But what is important here is that we saw the confrontation between those activists and the police, and the police on the video we saw could not gain access to the building, to the embassy. They were right outside of the gate, which is normal because they need to have permission, they need to have warrant, they need to have special authorization in order to enter the embassy. So don't listen to what people say there all the time. And one second, let's remove all the nasty people that come here and make some stupid comments. So the French police finally intervened and arrested the people who were in the embassy, and the Chadian authorities have decided to make a formal complaint about the whole incident, and therefore sue the people who went into the embassy yesterday. In so doing, they are not accusing anybody else. So this is opening an inquiry, an investigation, where the French police is going to establish what actually happened. So who was involved, what was the motive, and why it happened. So far, the Chadian authorities have not, although they could have, they have not put the blame on anybody else except the people who went to the embassy yesterday. So they're putting the blame on what they call the delinquents, or what they call the foolish, they call them scumbags, they call them foolish, they call them saboteur, they call them all sorts. So they're putting the blame on those individuals that went into the embassy. They're not putting the blame on the tribe. They're not putting the blame on their parents. They're not putting the blame on the people who they live with. They're putting the blame on the people who actively went in the embassy and occupied it yesterday. The reason why I'm saying this is because a similar incident happened on the 26th of January with the Cameroon embassy. And the Cameroon authority had a different approach to this whole, a surprising and a ridiculous approach to this whole incident. They did not seek any French help. They did not ask for an investigation. They did not actually open a case to pursue those people who were responsible for the embassy invasion. And the question remains, and people are rightly asking those questions. Why is it that the Cameroon authorities did not try to prosecute the people who went into the embassy? Why is it that the Cameroon authorities went straight to condemn the action and put the blame on Maurice Kamto? Well, the reason for all this is that this was all planned in a way. This was made to happen. This was arranged in a way, because they have been trying to get Mr. Kamto indicted for something, and they have not managed to find a single thing. First of all, they created this false coup just after the elections. That didn't work because Mr. Kamto did not agree to make the coup with these so-called officers that decided to approach him, telling him that Mr. Biya lost the elections and they will make a coup because Mr. Biya wants to steal the elections to put him in power, and Mr. Kamto refused. They didn't like that. Then they tried another one, which is, let's do this. Although they were warned and they had been receiving threats that BAS has said to the Cameroon authorities, if any marchers, if any protesters get shot, if any protesters get brutalized, if any protesters get beaten up, then we will react. We will avenge them. We will do something that you've not seen before. So the Cameroon authorities knew that. Now that they knew it, they provoked the situation. They provoked an escalation of the situation. So they attacked the marchers. They attacked the protesters with live ammunition, shooting Maître Ndoki, shooting Maître Celestin Jamin, shooting other protesters, which was exactly what the BAS, with his commander-in-chief, Calibri, told them. He warned them. He said, if you dare touching any protesters, we will react in a way that you've never seen it before. So they knew that the embassy was at risk. In fact, they received those threats and they wrote a letter to the French authorities telling them that there's going to be an incident here. Please, we need protection. But they didn't send any protection. So, funny enough, the access to the embassy was not secure. So there was no security at all in an embassy at the weekend. There was no security. So that's number two. So number one is they decide when they know they should not be shooting at people anyway. By law, they should not be shooting at protesters because the use of live ammunition on protesters is forbidden by the law. The use of any kind of ammunition is forbidden. That's rule number one. Rule number two, they were warned not to use or try and use live ammunition or to shoot at any protesters. They knew that. They knew it, and they decided to do that anyway because they wanted to frame Mr. Kamto. So when they did that, they started that provocation by shooting at the protesters. They knew that the bus was going to react. So, in the bus reaction, instead of them putting the right security in place, they put absolutely no security. So there was no security there. And it was so easy for bus to enter the building in Paris, to enter the embassy and take it over. Basically, there was almost nobody there. And we know what happened. There were so many people there. That is not to describe what happened after. So the embassy was taken over. The French police then did not do anything for about 6 hours. That's the time of the takeover or of the siege of the embassy. And then when they decide to take action because of they've had the green light from the Cameroon authorities, they decide to take action. They remove all the protesters from the embassy, and they did not arrest anybody. They did not arrest anybody. Why is that? Why is it that they did not arrest anybody? Why is it that not investigation was opened? Why is it that the Cameroon authorities not put a formal complaint to the French authorities? Why is it that the faces of the people who went to the embassy are well known and those people can be traced and up to date? They've not arrested anybody. They've not sought anybody. They've not interviewed anybody. They've not approached anybody. The whole case has been completely abandoned. This was made on purpose because they had their plan. Their plan was to facilitate the occupation of the embassy and accuse Mr. Kamto of being the commentator or the mastermind of these actions. So they went straight for Mr. Kamto and RMC party. And today, they've got him in jail because of the embassy for two things. They claim is because he organized a march that was illegal for rebellion, etc., etc. But to be honest with you, they're holding him for two reasons. They're blaming him for the takeover of the embassy that he did not do. And they're also blaming him unofficially for the claim that he made that elections were stolen, about the holdup, the electoral holdup. So those are the two reasons why they are pursuing him. Those are the two reasons why they're going after him. Now, what the Chadian authorities did yesterday exposed the plans of the French and the Cameroon authorities, because those two authorities have teamed up to frame Mr. Kamto and try and in order to get him in jail or in trouble. So why is it that for the same incident happening exactly in the same manner, in one case they arrest people, in the other case they arrest nobody? In one case, they're accusing the perpetrators that were on the scene. In the other case, they're accusing somebody that was 500,000 miles away from the scene. Why is that? No, because the government had a plan. The regime had a plan. And that plan was, let's not open any investigation or any inquiries, because if we do open investigation and inquiries, it will expose our dirty plans or our dirty practice. Like, people will be asking questions such as, where was the security? How come nobody was arrested on the scene? Etc., etc. People will be saying, where is the evidence to show the link between those people that did what appears to be the embassy siege and Mr. Kamto, who was in Yaoundé, had no contact whatsoever with the people who went to the embassy? Where is the link? There is no link. So to make things happen their way, they have to make sure that there is no proper process. So there is no due process. A due process will mean that when an incident like this happens, you will contact the authorities, you will get the authorities of the country involved, and they can investigate the case and establish responsibilities and possibly condemn the people who did the condemn the and find them guilty or not guilty if they've broken any law. The government knows that. The regime in Yaoundé knows that. They know that the French judicial system is open and transparent and just. And that this is exactly what the activists, the bus fighters and activists were looking for. They're looking for an opportunity to go and showcase all the bad things that Mr. Biya has been doing to our people. To go and showcase every single human right abuse that Mr. Biya is doing to our people. To go and showcase the dictatorship under which the Cameroonian people are living at the moment. To go and showcase the killings, the genocide taking place in the northwest and southwest of Cameroon. So because Mr. Biya and his regime, they are scared of the activists, that the activists will go there and expose them, they decided not to do anything. However, to use that incident and put it on the back of somebody who had nothing to do with that. Tchad had opposition leaders. Tchad even have rebel leaders. So how come Mr. Deby did not take this opportunity and blame it on the rebel leaders or on some opposition leaders? He's got just as many problems or even more problems than what Mr. Biya had in Cameroon. But no, that was not necessary, because they had their plan made and they had to follow those plans. So that's why they arrested Kamto. Now they got exposed by the Chadian government, who used a different approach, or the normal approach, with the French authorities. In so doing, exposing the Biya regime for being a rogue regime, for being a dictatorship, for being a lawless regime and a lawless place. Because you cannot justify that something happened in France 500,000 miles, 5,000 miles away, and you decide to put that on somebody who was never there, who had never ordered anything of that nature, and put the blame solely on that person simply because it's a political adversary and you want to make sure that you put him in jail, you send him to jail. And the whole process of arresting him, from him being arrested to him going to in front of the judge, full of breach of procedure, full of breach of law and standard, full of human abuse violation, human rights violation. So they did not respect the law, even in arresting him. They went there with a search warrant, which they turned into an arrest warrant. They took a search warrant and turned it into an arrest warrant. And this arrest was commanditated by one person, Mr. Atanganji. You can hear the police officer who went to Mr. Zongan's house talking over the phone to the minister, who he clearly identified on the audio as being Mr. Tanganji, saying, yes, sir, he's here. We're here now. We're going to take him away. They said all that is recorded on tape. And to move away from that, because if you start mentioning all the violations that took place in that whole process, you can spend the whole day doing that. 24 hours is not enough. Let's go to the last chapter. The last chapter is Mr. Maurice Kamto and all his co-accused went to court, and the judge decided, instead of holding a public hearing, he decided to hold, like what they call in French, huis clos, means private hearing. And they said, no, sir. The law does not say that. And in fact, the law is very clear on these particular instances. For any habeas corpus kind of trial or audience, you have to hold all the proceedings in public. All the decisions have to be made in public. And rightly so, Mr. Kamto reminded them that it's a public court. When justice belongs to the people, justice is given for the people, justice is made by the people. So justice has to be made, seem to be made by the people. So why will you go and do justice in closed doors, where there is nobody, where there is no witnesses, where the people whose justice, who's supposed to benefit from that justice or from this particular trial, are not there to witness what's going on. But the law specifically says that all those proceedings have to be held in public. And that's what Mr. Kamto and his co-accused have demanded. And they said that next time, if they don't hold these proceedings in public, they're not going to come to court. They are not going to come to court, or they will not go to the judge office again. That was the last time. So the Chadian authorities, all they have done, they have exposed the plot that was made by the French and Mr. Biya regime to get Mr. Kamto framed over an incident that he did not do, he did not know about, he did not plan, he did not commandite it, he did not commandite the incident, and he did not even have any link whatsoever with the people who went in there. All the people who went in there, they are assuming their actions. They are accepting, taking responsibilities for what they did. And they are known by the government. They are known by the French authorities. But none of them has been approached, arrested, approached or summoned to come to court or anything. Because they had their plan. So that was the first incident, the first subject topic today for this live. You can leave your comment. You can also send your suggestion if you have any topics or anything that you would like to talk about. Let's move on to the second topic. Where is Mr. Longue? About the first topic, you can go on the Brigade Anti-Sardinat page and you will see an essay that was made by Jipo Remingono, and that was posted there on the Brigade Anti-Sardinat page. You can read that, and it's got all the information, well detailed information about the involvement of the French and the Cameroon authorities in what happened in Paris. Let's move on to the second topic, which is Mr. Longue. Mr. Longue has gone missing for nearly 24 hours. It's been about 24 hours since Mr. Longue has gone missing. Now, there are conflicting information coming out. Some people are saying that he's been arrested. Most people are saying he's been arrested. Some people are saying he has not been arrested. Somehow, nobody has managed to speak to him. Some journalists have tried to get hold of him, to speak to him, but he's ringing and no answer. His Facebook account has got 2 videos. One was made around 9 a.m. and the last one was made at around 10 a.m. On both of those videos, all you can see is a video taken in what appears to be a room in a property, and some Longue music playing in the background. You don't see Mr. Longue appearing on the video, except for his photo on the wall or something like that. You don't see Mr. Longue appearing voice on the tape. So you don't see his voice, you don't hear his voice, you don't see himself on the video. So to me, there is no reason to believe that he has not been arrested. Because if he was not arrested, Mr. Longue would have made an appearance and made a live where he will actually speak to people and say to them, I have not been arrested. Because this regime has the habit of manipulating the opinion, manipulating the audience, manipulating the people. So when they arrest somebody, they will take the person's phone and use that person's phone to show that he's not been arrested. So they will take the person, tell them to log on to their phone because they want to check it, and use that phone to make videos like those 2 videos that we've seen on Mr. Longue's page, to try and convince the opinion, the public opinion, that the people and the activist and his family and the rest of the world that he has not been arrested, that nothing happened to him. But we heard nothing from him so far, except people saying that he has not been arrested because he made those 2 videos. What tells you that those 2 videos were made by Mr. Longue himself? And if they were made by Mr. Longue himself, why is he not talking on the video? The other explanation that some people are giving is that it could be that Mr. Longue is in search of buzz. So he wants people to talk about him. So he simulated, he kind of pretended that he got arrested and then come entertain all these rumors to make people talk about him and make him more popular or more famous. I don't think so. I don't really think so. I think Mr. Longue was speaking from his heart. This is what we're asking artists, our artists, to do. Not people like Fingong Tralala going to Cameroon and dining with the dictator, knowing all the suffering that's happening in that country, the genocide in the northwest and southwest, and going there, teaming up with the dictators, is what we called is a treason act. Is a foolish and stupid act. And we have decided to ban him or to boycott him in the diaspora. So from now on, Mr. Fingon Chalala will be boycotted. And we ask people to also boycott his all all of his material on YouTube, Facebook. Don't share his videos, don't watch his videos, and don't go to his shows. He has decided to work with the regime, the dictatorship regime. Let him go and live there in Cameroon. What an hypocrite. Why will you leave Cameroon and come and leave Cameroon to move to Belgium? And because you could not live a decent life in Cameroon, you could not live a prosperous life in Cameroon, that's why you fled to go somewhere else. After you've done all that, you go back there to Cameroon to dance with the person who's responsible for your misery, to dance with the person who's responsible for the misery of 25 million Cameroonians, to dance with the people who are responsible for stealing all the money, embezzling all the money, to dance with the people who made us lose the hosting of the African Cup of Nations, to dance with the people who declared war on their own people, meaning the war in the Northwest and the Southwest. And we say these sorts of actions need to be dealt with. And Mr. Fingon Tralala, you will have to face the music. You will have to go through the cleaners. You will pay for it. And you will pay a heavy price for that. Because you underestimated the power of this revolution, the power of the Bas movement. You estimated the power of the resistance. You underestimated the power of our determination, the strength of our determination. So that's why we're saying today, we will boycott you until Mr. Biya and his regime are out. Unless you redeem yourself. Because I don't even know which way you will manage to redeem yourself. Whether people will even trust you. Just like your name says, they call you Fingon. Fingon means somebody you cannot trust. Somebody who is deceitful. Somebody who is cunning. So that's that one for Mr. Longue. I believe that Mr. Longue has been arrested. I believe that Mr. Longue is not free, because if he was free, he will present himself. Anyway, he's got a show coming soon in Canada, and we support him for that. Now, if he's been arrested, that means that that show is under threat. So he might not go and organize this show in Canada. So we have to remain mobilized. We have to remain in high alert to make sure that even if he's been arrested, we will publish that. We will make sure that we send a strong message to those authorities in Cameroon, in Yaoundé, to force them to free him and free all the other prisoners. So let's move to the third point, which is the diaspora aid. What I mean by the diaspora aid is that Mr. Biya regime has put the Cameroonian people into a vast land of poverty, where people have no means to survive. Some people don't even have one meal a day. And when people have issues there in Cameroon, they turn into the diaspora. So they call the diaspora, they call me, they call you to help them. So what I'm bringing today is a new way to deal with these requests that come from home. When people call you from home and start crying that they need money to pay for the school fees, they need money to pay for healthcare, they need money to pay for illnesses, they need money to pay for food, they need money to pay for their rent and everything else, they need money to bribe somebody to get a job, they need money to buy a car, they need money to buy maybe land. This is what you will have to tell them, to respond to them from now on. Somebody call you, asking for favors, asking for money. You tell them, Where is your membership for an opposition party in Cameroon? And let's make sure that that opposition party is not one that is an ally of the CPDM party. It's not a party that is in a friendship or in an alliance with the CPDM or with the dictatorship, because there are many fake opposition parties in Cameroon. So you ask him, number one, where's your opposition membership card? Number two, where's your electoral card? Where is your elecum card? Where is your voting card? So if that person does not show you those two documents, do not give him anything. Ask him, tell him to go and put his request to the Ministry of Social Services in Yaoundé. Ask him to go to the presidential palace in Yaoundé and put his request to Mr. Paul Biya and his wife. Because enough is enough. The regime there do nothing, absolutely nothing for the population, for the people. And the people, when they have a problem, they turn to the diaspora. They turn to the people who are abroad. They turn to their friends and relatives who live abroad for help. And we're saying that that cannot continue. We cannot continue to support people in their stupidity. We cannot afford to support people who do not want to take things in their own hands and take action that will change their lives. Take action that will better our country. Take action that will make our country prosperous. Take action that will bring significant change to Cameroon. And we say those people don't deserve our help. So please don't send any money to people, anybody, whether it's your parent, grandparents, friends, brothers, sisters, cousins, any of those that do not show you those two documents. Do not give them any money. If you have any suggestions about this, let me know. Send an inbox to the BAS UK. Let us know. Send an inbox to the BAS UK, or you can send an inbox to myself, Diallo Bakai, Le Banen de Yingi. I am also on YouTube. Is Diallo Bakai. It's Le Banen de Yingi on YouTube. Le Banen de Yingi on YouTube. Révolutionnaire. Le Banen de Yingi on Le Banen de Yingi, Révolutionnaire on YouTube. So you can find me there. You can also follow me on my page. Is Le Banen de Yingi Révolution 26 janvier 2019. So let's move on to the third and final subject, which is the march on the 30th of March 2019. This march is the biggest march of the year, the march of the century. You have to come out for this march. If you don't want to be identified, if you don't want to show your face, you don't want people to know who you are, put a mask. Go in a pawn shop. Go in one of those toy shop, where kids toy shop. Buy a mask. Put your mask on. Nobody will force you to show your face. Not even the police, not even the British authorities, not even the French authorities, not even the American authorities. So for some of these people who have been saying for time that they cannot show their faces, please go and get a mask. Use a balaclava. Cover your face. Do whatever you want. That is fine. We just want you to be there. We just want the numbers. We just want your voice. We don't want your face. Your face doesn't mean anything. It's your voice and your presence. So that's what we want for this march on the 30th of March 2019. This international, special and international march, protest that will take place all over the world, in France, in Belgium, in Switzerland, in Canada, in America, in England, in Holland, in Italy. So we're asking all the combatants, all the fighters to come out on the 30th of March and protest. This revolution is our revolution. We are on the right track, and the government is in difficulties. They are in trouble. They don't know what to do. They have arrested Mr. Kamto, and now they are lost. They have fallen in the trap that Mr. Kamto made for them. They have fallen in several traps that Mr. Kamto made for them. So they know nothing but cheating. Except cheating. The only thing they know well is lying and cheating. And robbing, of course. Lying, cheating, and robbing. Those are the only three things they know how to do. They try to do war to their own people. They try to declare war to their own people. Where have you seen a government, some authorities, win some war against their own people? Declare war on your own people in the northwest and southwest. Having babies killed, women's raped, young men and old men killed for no reason, because one government, dictatorial government of Mr. Biya, refuses to engage with their people, with his people, and instead of installing a dialogue, takes them to war. Exactly the same thing happened with the Amazonian people, with the English-speaking people, with the Anglophone, what they call initially the Anglophone crisis, which became the Amazonian war. They refused to dialogue with all the moderate people, and even went further and arrested them, radicalizing, in so doing, radicalizing the whole population. Now they have extremist group. They have people who are not prepared to dialogue. They've created chaos. And we know that in that chaos, there are people who are making money. In that chaos, there are people who are having an industry of war, a business, trade. Some sort of trade is prosperous. So some people are making money over the misery of the people. People have been displaced in Nigeria and displaced within Cameroon and all over the world. People are running away to save their lives. People have been killed in hundreds. And the international community has to do something about it and condemn this regime for declaring war to his own people. Amongst many other reasons, like the electoral roll-up, amongst many other reasons, like the embezzlement of public funds, amongst many other reasons, like the arrest of protesters without any reason, amongst any other reason, like the lack of freedom of speech, the fact that the government is sabotaging our fundamental right, which is the right of speech, of free speech, the right of association, the right of protest, the right of speaking our mind, and the right of living peacefully in our own country. So people want even to go on the street to clean the street up. They decide to arrest them. Today, people will decide to do like register members for their parties, like for the RMC, and they will decide to send the police there, and the police will take over the place. The police will stop people from actually opening the offices. So they have decided to track and to attack any members of the RMC party, wherever they are, or whatever action they decide to take, whether good or bad. But mainly, what we've seen recently, all good actions, deciding to clean the street, deciding to clean some of the rivers, deciding to do public kind of actions, voluntary actions. The government will refuse, will not let them do that. And who does it benefit when the government stops them from doing it? Nobody. It's the Cameroon people, that the Cameroonians that are losing. It's the Cameroon people that are in the receiving end of all these wrongdoing. So that's why we're asking people to come out on the 30th of March. Wherever you are, come out and protest. Even in Cameroon, come out and protest. This government will not kill you. They have got too much blood in their hands. They cannot carry on. The Americans are giving them ultimatums. The Americans are giving them threats. And they are not allowed to do one more mistake. One more mistake and they will be gone. So that's what I had for you today. And I thank you all for listening to me. My English was not perfect, but I hope and I wish that you understood what I was trying to say. And I also hope that you will join this fight, this struggle. If you haven't joined it yet, there are several ways that you can join the struggle. You can join the struggle by giving very little donation to the revolution. You can join the struggle by physically coming to the march. You can join the struggle by making videos and educating your own people. You can join the struggle by telling your people to get their voting cards and the opposition party cards. You can join this struggle by internalizing this struggle, by telling your MP, your mayor, your prime minister, your ministers in the country, wherever you are, telling them about the atrocities that are happening in Cameroon, in the northwest and the southwest, in the north of Cameroon, in Douala, when the police decide to open fire on protesters, peaceful protesters, with their hands raised high up, unarmed peaceful protesters. You have to tell the world. You have to tell media organization about what's happening in Cameroon. Keep saying the same message again and again and again. Repetitions help. Only repetitions can get us anywhere. You need to tell BBC, you need to tell RFE, you need to tell CNN, you need to tell Al Jazeera, you need to send that message. We have to send that message all over the world, to the United Nations, to the African Union, even if they're very useless. It's like a clan of, it's like a syndicate for dictators in Africa, the African Union. So write to the European Union, write to the American government, write to your representative, your senators, write to your MP, to your Lord, and together, and only together, we will succeed. So I thank you all for those who have listened to this broadcast today, and I wish to speak to you soon. My name is Lebanon de Yingi, your combatant. I hope to see you soon. Share the video, share the video, send some love hearts. We need your support. Without your support, this revolution cannot succeed. Everybody has to play his part. Everybody has to put his effort in. Everybody has to get involved. And together we will succeed. When you see injustice becoming law, resistance becomes a duty. So dear brothers and sisters, dear comrades, Dear fighters, this struggle is a peaceful struggle, and it's a legitimate struggle. It's it's a people struggle. And therefore, if you don't want to be part of the most significant, the most recent and positive history of our country, if you want to be part of it, then you need to join this revolution now. Don't wait any longer. Thank you very much for listening to me, and thank you for sharing the video. I'll speak to you guys tomorrow. The struggle continues. The struggle is on the right track. We are putting the regime in difficulties. The regime is in trouble. They have sleepless night. They have become the prisoners of the prisoner. They have become the prisoners of the prisoner. Remember that. Because Mr. Kamto is not only teaching them how justice, how the law works, because they keep breaking the law, but he's giving them the most difficult trouble, or the most significant trouble they have seen so far. They're saying in French, le rouleau compresseur a changé de camp. So Mr. Kamto is applying the policy of the rouleau compresseur. So see you tomorrow. Bye-bye, everybody. Together, we will win this struggle. Tiaka Jenkara. Hi, Cameroun Oboso. Hi, Crystal Timamo. Hi, Thierry Ebanda. Hi, everybody. And hi to you all combatant, all fighters, wherever you are. This struggle is your struggle. This fight is your fight. It's a noble cause that we're fighting. It's because of injustice that we're fighting. It's because of people who are dying in hospitals, like that mother that died the other day giving birth with her child, her unborn child. It's the fight for the people who are dying on our roads every day. It's the fight for the people who have no job, for the people who have all the diplomas, all the certificates and diplomas, and they have no job. This struggle is for the people who say no to tribalism. It's for the people who say no to, jobs by friendships, offering jobs by friendships, rather than offering jobs on merit. We want Cameroon to become a country where merit is the only way to select or choose or reward people. Merit is the only tool used to evaluate people and give them a position in our society, in our country. That's all I had for you today. Thank you very much for being there. Thank you very much for those who have commented on this live today. Let's take another rendezvous tomorrow or the day after tomorrow for another live in English. I will try my best so often to do some lives in English, because we are a bilingual country where people speak French and English, and it's not fair to be speaking French all the time and forcing it on the people who do not understand French. So I hope you've liked this broadcast, and if you have done so, please share it. Please leave a comment below. Leave your impressions, leave your suggestions, leave your feedback And only with that we can better ourselves and we can do better. Now the injustice has become the law, so our duty is to stand against that, to stand and face that. Normally they say that when injustice becomes law, resistance becomes a duty, or when injustice is erected and as law, resistance is our duty. Thank you very much, and again, bye bye, see you soon. Thank you for listening today. Can't read the name. Kati Yemo. Yeah, you have Kati Yemo. Who else is there? NS Nyap. Thank you very much for being there today.